It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the last 5 films of 2003. The ones that I'm at least crediting for 2003. We'll get to the 2003 leftovers next week, but these are the last 5 films officially released on Christmas Day 2003. And we'll start off with the biggest new release of them all, and that is Steve Martin in the remake of the classic family comedy, Cheaper by the Dozen.
On this quiet street, in this ordinary house, something has grown out of control. It has the strength of an army and an appetite that can never be satisfied. Now, there's only one man who can face it. And it's not him. This Christmas,
12 kids? That's nuts.
the more the scarier.
It's gonna hurt.
Steve Martin.
12 kids later and we still got the heat.
Things are getting pretty twisted around here.
Well, that's great.
Cheaper by the dozen.
Thanks for ruining my life.
I don't know what it is about Steve Martin, but even when he's being extremely cringy in a movie, he still can be very funny at times. And, yeah, this is not a great movie, but it just is the culmination of a pretty good year for Martin in 2003. Of course, he had 3 really good movies, but only 2 of them were big hits, and then Looney Tunes Back in Action unfortunately flopped. But this is, like I said, a remake of the original Cheaper by the Dozen, where you have judging career and family can be a lot, and for Tom and Kate Baker, the proud parents of 12 children, having chosen family over career aspirations, their lives have suddenly changed when small-town coach Tom is offered his dream job, and Kate's book has been accepted for publication. Now, with her promoting it, it's up to Tom to look after the children, take care of the house, and handle a new job. Can he bring order out of chaos? And obviously, as you see from the trailer, the answer to that is not really. But this is a pretty stacked cast overall, with notable names all throughout. Not just Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt. You have Piper Perabo from Coyote Ugly, Tom Welling from Smallville, Hilary Duff, Allison Stoner, Lillian Mumy, Blake Woodruff, Alan Ruck, Paula Marshall, Ashton Kutcher, Wayne Knight's also in the movie, Richard Jenkins. Just a lot of people in this movie, and you know, it's not, I won't say it's a great movie by any means necessary, but it is a fun movie. It's a fun movie watching Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt in this movie. It's mostly Steve Martin, but you get enjoyment from most of the people involved in here. The film is not really that clever in terms of its comedy or its writing in general. In fact, a lot of stuff in this movie really isn't all that funny, but it's just one of those movies where there's just something about it that just makes me come back to it, even though I know it's not a film that's not really all that funny or clever, but it's still a fun movie overall. And I think it's because it's the director, Sean Levy, who had already done Just Married earlier in the year, and like I said before, he usually has the knack to make movies that usually usually won't be that good, but they'll still be fun at many occasions. And this is one of those ones where it's just like, yeah, there is a lot of fun things about the film in general that I do remember from it, and I kind of enjoy it for what it is. I mean, it's not a great movie by any means, but I thought there was a lot of stuff in it that I did enjoy. It's kind of a nostalgic, guilty pleasure for me, honestly, the more I think about it. But like I said, I think Steve Martin does carry the load in it very well. I thought it was a fun movie. Overall, not a great film, but a fun film overall. One I like to go back to every once in a while. But that's my take on that one. That's Cheaper by the Dozen. So on to the next movie, which I believe is Jude Law, Nicole Kidman, and Renee Zellweger in Anthony Mangela's Cold Mountain.
For some cause I don't believe in.
Any soldier shall be hunted down like a dog.
One man. One chance. One way home.
I was seeing him come back to me.
Jude Law, Nicole Kidman, Renee Zellweger. Cold Mountain.
kind of like Anthony Minghella The English Patient, probably more overrated than it actually is. I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means, but it's definitely a film that's not as good as I think it probably should be. You have a story that centers around the story of a wounded deserter from the Confederate Army close to the end of the American Civil War, who journeys home to reunite with the woman he loves. And Jude Law is that person, as Nicole Kidman. Renee Zellweger won an Oscar for this, which, you know, that's the thing. I'm glad Renee Zellweger has 2 Academy Awards, but at the same time, can you give it to her in movies where she's actually acting and not just giving a generic Oscar cliche performance? Because in Judy, when she's playing Judy Garland, she's just playing a role that's just right for Oscar bait. And this is another one of those performances where she's trying way too hard, and yet somehow it won her an Academy Award. Like, there's the famous line in there where she's just like, you know, if they call this war a cloud over the land, but they made the weather, and then they stand in the rain and say, shit, it's raining. Like that's supposed to be like the big emotional tear-jerking moment of the movie, and I'm just watching, just kind of like, man, she's trying way too hard. Like, I don't get why you can't just give an actor an Academy Award for being in a good performance and not just doing some Oscar bait, cliched riddled stuff like this. I mean, this and also Judy, like, she's not really doing anything that really shows her true talents as an actress. I mean, this is somebody who deserves to win Academy Awards, but not for performances that are just so bland and mediocre. That's the same thing with Julianne Moore and Jessica Chastain. Like, I want to see them win Oscars, but I want to see them win Oscars for stuff that they actually acted in, they actually did something in. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me in particular. Maybe I just don't like this director in general, because like I said, he did The English Patient, which I did not think was that good of a movie, but then again, he did do The Talented Mr. Ripley. So maybe it's just my personal opinion on those movies. I thought they were just oversold because they were a part of the Harvey Weinstein thing, where he would do whatever it takes to get these movies the recognition that they thought they deserved. And I don't know. It's not a bad movie. I'm making it seem like it's a bad film, but it's just a film that I'm not really that big of a fan of. I just feel like there should have been so much more to it. There's great actors involved all the way through, but just not enough there for me to say that it's worth it. But that's just my personal take on it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here, and that's Ben Affleck's third film of 2003. The best one he's done, and that is Paycheck.
It's a matter of national security.
Tell us everything you did right now.
I can't. You wipe my memory.
Take 'em. Paycheck is the perfect thriller for the holidays. A whodunit that will keep you guessing right up until the end. Oh my God. With action sequences only John Woo can deliver. Words can't describe how amazing Paycheck really is. Ben Affleck, Sharon Eckhart, Uma Thurman. Paycheck, rated PG-13, starts Christmas Day.
Which isn't really saying a whole lot, because the idea of it really is stupid right from the get-go from that trailer, where you basically have Ben Affleck being asked, what do you remember? And he's just like, I can't, you wiped my memory, remember? It's just like, what do they expect him to do? And it's funny because, you know, he got paid the biggest paycheck of his career, earning about $15 million for this. And whenever he's asked why he's starting the film, he says, the answer lies in the title. That's probably really the reason why it was called Paycheck to begin with. But in here, he plays Michael Jennings, a reverse engineer who does technical jobs for certain companies, and as soon as he is done, his memory of the work is wiped out. Now, the longest he's been contracted is 2 months, but now billionaire James Rethrick, played by Aaron Eckhart, offers him a job that will last 2 years, maybe 3 years, and promises that he will earn 8 figures. Michael agrees, but before he begins, he turns it in all of his personal effects. When the job is done, his memories are erased, and he learns that he made over $90 million over the next 3 years. When he goes to claim it in his personal effects, he discovers that prior to the erasure of his memory, he waived his rights to the money he earned, and that the items were given to him were not the ones that he gave when he began. He's then arrested by the FBI, who says that he committed some act of treason or murder, and it's while he's in custody that he escapes using some of the items that he was given, 19 items to be exact. Later, he meets a friend who gives him some information, played by Uma Thurman, that helps him understand what is going on. At the same time, Rethrick sends his people to pursue him for him. So, I mean, I would say it's Total Recall, but it's literally Total Recall. It's literally the same author, Philip K. Dick, who wrote this, and it's just not a very good. It's a bad movie, but considering what Ben Affleck did in 2003, it's the best thing he's done, and even then, it's not a good movie in the long run. It's just a film that is really just like, it's so confusing. It's so all over the place. It's so bad that John Woo, who had made a name for himself with Face Off and found success with MI2, Mission Impossible 2, even though it was not a huge critical success, it was still a financial success. He did not direct another American film for 20 years after this. He did Silent Night recently, which that should tell you everything you need to know. If this is the movie that made him say, I'm getting out of this business. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know about how bad this is. This is just a sloppy film, but has some cool effects at times, but at the same time, the story is just all over the place. None of it makes any sense whatsoever. Like, how is he supposed to explain to people what happened to him over the last 3 years when he's literally telling them, you wiped my memory? And it's just like, nope, we're not going to answer that. We're not going to accept that. It's just like in The Bourne Legacy with Rachel Weisz's character. Whenever, like she says, she has no idea what's happening, and then people are just like, nope, got to kill you anyway because we're the bad guys. Just like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and it just ruins what maybe could have been something good. But you know why Ben Affleck took this film. He took the film for the big paycheck he got, and let's just say that this, like I said, it's not the worst thing he's been in over this 2-year period where his career really took a downfall. We still haven't gotten to the bottom of the barrel, which we'll get to next Christmas or next October, if you will, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, not much more to say about this one. Just not a good film. Not a good film at all. Paycheck. So let's move on to the next movie, and that is Toy Boat. Let's take a look at the live-action Peter Pan, the one that before Disney did.
Come away to Neverland.
This Christmas,
There are mermaids, Indians, pirates.
escape to a place
Bring me those children!
where anything is possible.
Brace yourselves, lads.
Peter Pan, rated PG. At theaters Christmas Day.
Like I said, Disney, this is the one that Universal beat you to. Of course, this is based off of J.M. Barrie's story, where you have you pretty much have the story of Peter Pan already memorized in your head. But Wendy Darling mesmerizes her brothers every night with bedtime tales of swordplay, swashbuckling, and the fearsome Captain Hook. But the children become the heroes of an even greater story when Peter Pan flies into their nursery one night and leads them over moonlight rooftops, through a galaxy of stars, and to the lush jungles of Neverland. Wendy and her brothers join Peter and the Lost Boys in the exhilarating life free of grown-up rules, which also faces the inevitable showdown with Hook and his bloodthirsty pirates. And you can pretty much tell what's going to happen from there. But directed by P.J. Hogan, who had done My Best Friend's Wedding and Muriel's Wedding before this, and related to Confessions of a Shopaholic. And there's definitely a lot to admire about the movie. The visual aspects of the movie is great. Definitely a better representation of the original Peter Pan in this particular movie. There are some notable flaws to it. I think there's a lot of things about it that do kind of make me step back from saying it's one of the great adaptations of the story, but it is better than what Disney did with Peter Pan and Wendy. I mean, just from the perspective of them actually adding an element to this film that wasn't in the Disney version, the live-action Disney version, not the animated one. That still tops the charts on that one. But this is probably the best overall live-action Peter Pan storyline. I'm not talking about sequels or anything with Hook and all that. I'm talking about a straightforward live-action retelling of Peter Pan. This is easily the best one in movie form that I've seen, from a visual perspective, from a casting perspective, from a story perspective. I think it works very well overall. It has some notable flaws to it, but it really is a film that I think deserves a lot more attention than it gets. It's a film that's very impressively put together, and you can tell that they put a lot of time and effort to make it work, even if nobody really went to go see it. I think it's a film that deserves a cult following overall. I think it's a very solid film. I recommend it. I think it's a ton of fun. So on to the last movie we have here, another movie with an Oscar winner in it, Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci in Monster.
After some calls, I don't believe it.
Any soldier shall be hunted down like a dog.
One man. One chance. One way home.
I was seeing him come back to me.
Jude Law, Nicole Kidman, Renee Zellweger.
A woman with a victim complex who thinks that everybody else is beneath her. I mean, this is the earliest indication of a Karen, if you want to really go down that route. But Charlize Theron plays serial killer Aileen Wuornos, who's a street prostitute who murdered 7 of her male clients between 1989 and 1990 and was executed in Florida in 2002. It stars Charlize Theron, like I said, as Wuornos, and Christina Ricci as her semi-fictionalized lover, based on Wuornos' real-life girlfriend, Tyra Moore. This is written and directed by Patty Jenkins, who of course later would go on to direct Wonder Woman. And it's... Okay, here's the thing. It's kind of like with Renee Zellweger, but in Cold Mountain. I think it's a good performance by Charlize Theron that really carries it through, and she deserves to win an Oscar, but I feel like there are some other much better roles that she could have won an Oscar for besides this one. I feel like that this is a performance where it's just like, it's a good performance. It really is one of the stronger aspects of the movie. That and Christina Ricci, I think both of them work off each other very well. The rest of the film, though, I think is just too grisly, too bleak in general, to really cement this as a film that is a must-see. I think you only go to see this movie to watch the performances of Theron and Ricci, and everything else, it's just okay. It's nothing incredible, nothing too spectacular, but the two leading performances really do stick out the most in this movie. At least in my opinion, it does. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just not fully invested in the story all that much. But like I said, I think the performances of Theron and Ricci are the two things that make you want to see the film in general. But other than that, though, I just wish there was a better film to go around to it overall. It just feels like another one of those movies that is trying to be kind of an Oscar-baited, cliched riddled film. But yeah, it's just okay. Like, is those performances elevate a movie that would have been just too okay? Maybe for a one-time, maybe not even for a one-time watch. Maybe finding the best stuff with Charlize Theron in it, and then after that, just go on with your day. There's nothing really. The movie itself, nothing is. What I'm trying to say is, I feel like I'm jumbling my words here. What I'm trying to say here is that the movie is nothing special. The two leading performances by Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci are the two things you should take away from this movie that you should indeed see. I think those are the two things that carry the film over to something that I would say it's worth watching just for those performances. But everything else, not so much. So let's go ahead and get myself out of here. That's this one. That is Monster. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies as we wrap up another year. 2003 is now in the books, but next week there's no new releases to begin 2004, so you know what that means. Leftovers time. So not as many as usually, but 7 films of noteworthiness to talk about. Mostly direct-to-video movies like 101 Dalmatians 2, Charlotte's Web 2, Stitch the Movie, Kim Possible, A Stitch in Time, Beethoven's Fifth, Blue Collar Comedy Tour the Movie, and of course, how can you not talk about The Room? So we will talk about those 7 films all on the next episode, so be on the lookout for that. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the plays on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, with that said, I'm off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.